Good morning, everybody. My name is Josh. I'm getting some direction from the crowd. My name is Josh, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about charitable giving. One of the things that we do typically in the new year is we start to kind of analyze and revisit our own lives, and that sometimes that includes our own finances. And as you are going through your finances this year, we would ask that you contemplate one thing. We ask that you contemplate, do I find value in what happens here at Friends? Do I believe that what's happening here is important? And just to reflect on my own perspective from that, I'm a person that's very wary about where I put my financial resources. And being on the board here at Friends, and being here, I think, jeepers, I'm going on 16 years at Friends Church now. I know that when I give to Friends Church, it goes to do a few very important things. Not only does it make the world better in a typical charitable sense, where it makes people who have less or need more, we give that to them, it also allows me to learn every Sunday about how to make myself better and then in turn make my world better. It is an incredible value of investment. And there's a few ways, if you agree with that and you agree with what we're doing here, there's a few ways you can do that. You can go online. You're just a few clicks away once you get to friendschurch.ca to contributing. You can go on our mobile app where you can decide whether you're a one-time giver or you decide to be a pre-authorized giver, which gives us financial stability. And we still have the old school black box at the back for folks that are here and want to drop off a donation on their way out. So I'll hand that over to Jeff for this morning's lesson.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, everyone. Wow, what a great morning already. And if you've been enjoying this service, which I hope you are, maybe you're relaxed right here in the auditorium. Bigger crowd now. People are getting out of the woodwork after the holidays. Last week was, she was pretty lean in here. It was a little concerning. But hopefully you've all had a great holiday season, vacation maybe, or just a lay low during the Christmas season. We're back at it. We're right in the middle of a self-care series that Vince launched last week. And I want to talk about the emotional self-care, that as a topic this morning. It's easy to fall into an emotional funk, isn't it? Like, I'm talking to a lot of people right now who are feeling like they're in something. I know for me, looking back over the years, I would fall into an emotional funk. I was doing it kind of repetitiously. And it was so subtle I didn't even realize it until I was into it. I didn't know how to see it coming. And until it was there, and then I was in this world of hurt. And I did a lot of learning in the process of trying to figure out what was going on. And so when I was given this subject, I have to say I was pretty excited about talking about this morning, because it's something that has made a large difference in my life. If I go back to some of those seasons where I got into these deep, dark places, it was like I was just checking out. Now, I don't know what it looks like for other people. I know that different ones have described their dark places, their funks, a little differently. But for me, my drive to get things done just started evaporating. Like something simple as having a list of people that had left messages and wanted me to get back to them. Normally, that's something I enjoy doing, but I noticed that all of a sudden I'd look at that list with a little dread. I'd get a text message, and just the idea of replying to a frickin' text, I'd just be like, I don't know if I have it in me right now to do that. And they would kind of spell out into other things. I would come home and little things would just start setting me off. I remember at one point my son looking at me and just saying, "Dad, what is your problem?" And I'm looking at him so angry that he would dare to ask me that, so oblivious that something was happening inside of me. I was not acting myself. There was enough of what he was saying. I noticed, I looked over at my wife, and my wife was looking at me like, I'm like, you saying this is me? Are you suggesting there's something wrong with me right now? I remember at this time, at this particular time, I was deep in it and wiped out. I wasn't sleeping well. There's a whole bunch of different things that I was experiencing. But I remember listening to this message from a guy that I really respected. And he began talking about his own season. And as he described his season, it was like he was reading my mail. He too talked about motivational levels and being exhausted. He would say, it's not like I was even doing a whole lot. That was the weird thing. He says, I should be tired. I shouldn't be tired, but I am tired. I remember just listening to him going, man, yeah. And then he started saying, I didn't realize my emotional battery was running really low. I'd never heard someone describe it like that, or whatever it was, like this emotional battery inside was just, it was low, needing to be recharged. Got me thinking, I wonder if that's my problem. So I remember I grabbed this journal and I began journaling just some of the things that I was experiencing in that moment. Now I'm an up guy. That was what was so weird. I have not suffered a lot of depression or whatever, so for me to be down was really uncharacteristic. So I just started journaling this. Now I don't know what happened. I don't even know if just life changed, whatever circumstance, whatever, but I just know it just went away. Until the next time. And I remember finding myself in the same dark place, and my wife mentions it. She goes, "Here we go, Jeff." And I'm feeling it. I'm frustrated. I'm going, I don't know what's causing this or what. And so I remember the journal, and I remember going back to it and opening it up and reading what I had written. Surprisingly, it's dated almost exactly a year prior. And I remember reading through it, and all of a sudden, for the first time, I'm going, wait a second. I was here exactly a year ago? Is this something that's cycling through? Is this something that I'm falling into and I don't even realize it? Same time? And it was at that moment I began looking back in my life and going, I think this has been a chronic pattern for me for a long time. Anyways, in combination with listening to this talk and this guy, he talked about the emotional battery and just saying you need to pay attention to your low battery signals. So I did. I started really paying attention to what was going on. I worked hard at trying to spot some different signals. This morning, I want to share with you some of that learning. I know some of you have learned this. I've spoken with many of you who have gone through your dark nights, and you've come away with it with your own cheat sheet, your own notes of what leads you in and what leads you out. And so this morning, for those of you who understand some of these principles, we're going to be high-fiving that you're walking in this morning with a full tank. You're feeling great, that you've cruised through the season. But I'm betting that there are some people this morning who are listening to me who are experiencing right now what it feels like to have a very low emotional battery. And some of you don't even know it. Just like I didn't know what was going on. One of the best pieces of advice this guy on this message that he gave, he just kept talking about knowing your signals, knowing the lights that are shining on your dashboard. There's warning lights. Do you know what your warning lights are? I began really thinking deeply about my warning lights, talking with other people who know me, who are witnessing me in these times. Something I've come to learn is that my compassion levels correspond directly to my emotional battery. I'm typically a high empathic. I feel for people that are around me. I learn their story. In talking with them, I can take on. When I see someone suffering, my radar just flies to them, and it's hard to even ignore it. When my battery starts dropping, when my emotional fuel tank starts emptying, I can look at someone who is grimacing in pain and feel nothing. I just look right past them. Something happens inside of me, I just tune out. I don't know if it's a protection thing or whatever. It can be a member of my own family. It can be a close friend. It can be someone within the community. When I'm low, it's like, not now. I don't know if that's perhaps you. I'm a morning person. I get up in the morning, I bounce out of bed when I'm healthy. I can't wait. Mornings are one of my favorite times, and early. The earlier the better. It's almost like I just can't wait to get out of bed, have my coffee, and I have a morning routine. I love that. When my emotional battery starts dropping, I start smashing that snooze button. Kathy starts saying, "Is something going on there?" Like, that was a while before you climbed out. I'm like, yeah. Now, there's late nights. There's normal stuff that happens. And then there's these patterns that just start creeping in. Humor. I love to laugh. Like, most days, if someone starts laughing around me, I'm just like, hey, what are we laughing about? Is there something going on? Let me in on the... If I hear someone laughing around the office, it's everything I can do not to get out from my desk and come into the hallway and say, okay, what? My boys, they send me this stuff on the internet. It is like candy. It's just, when I can find something that they sent off that is so funny, and I'm belly laughing. I got these podcasts that are so hilarious. These satires on church world. I was listening to one on my way to work this morning, or way here this morning, and I am laughing out loud in my truck. It's just, that's me normal. When my battery starts dropping, I can feel it. People are laughing. I'm just like, not now. Humor, bad. What are some of your warning lights where you know, something's missing right now? What would you say? Some can feel physical exhaustion, like just low energy. Some can be just irritable or overly emotional. That's a big thing. You just, all of a sudden, you find yourself crying or angry, like just... Some will describe it as just an inability to feel pleasure. Like, there can be some good things that are going on in their life, and they call it like just numbness, hollow. Knowing what your warning lights are on your dashboard is critical. It's critical. It's kind of like, it's like the maintenance required light that goes up on your car. It's just going, hey, look it. It's nothing critical. But something's going on here that needs to get changed out. Or something's not quite right. You want to pay attention. Maybe there's low windshield wiper fluid. Maybe your oil level is just a little low, or it's needing to be changed out. No critical, no emergency. What I learned about me is that I, not really paying attention or knowing my signals, the maintenance light would start flashing. And I was looking right past it. If you don't react to the warning lights, it's weird how the emotional battery works. It just keeps draining and draining. We go on with life. And then all of a sudden, it's like your check engine light goes on. Now this is not a good one. If you've ever had your check engine light go on, there's no feeling like that one, right? All of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we got trouble. This was where I found myself in these funks. My check engine light went on, and I am feeling things now that I cannot ignore. I've learned the hard way that it's much easier to do something when it's just your maintenance lights flashing. There's still a level of motivation in the tank. There's still a level of drive to do something. I was talking with a woman just this week who right now her emotional battery has been worn down so low. She says, I'm looking at my laundry, and she says, I can't even do my laundry. I can't even put a load of laundry. She says, and then it just starts piling up. When you get to this point where the check engine light comes on, it's like life compounds. What was once just a little problem over here, left undealt with, now starts swamping you in other parts of your life. You get a little oversensitive. Now you're overreacting to someone. And now we got a little drama happening over here. You're overtired. You didn't get that work done. Now it's waiting for you the next day along with everything else. And before long, things start to balloon. Another thing that happens once the battery starts getting low enough is these internal emotions start driving. Shame, guilt. You look at it, I remember this feeling of saying, come on, Jeff, snap out of this. What is your problem? It's a freaking phone call. Just call. It's a text. It's an email. But this sense of overwhelm just starts building. It's like, yeah, but I've got so much. And I'm so tired. Tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'll do that next week. And it just, have you felt that? Have you been there? So it's important to know your warning signs. You know, I say that now having the years of experience where I started first discovering what my warning signals are. But I realized that even knowing this stuff, even though I have my cheat sheet written out, my life gets full or stuff gets thrown out of balance, and I can lose sight of that. And so this morning, I just want to talk about something that's been really helpful for me, and it's just a simple emotional check-in. Now, you can read about these all over the place, but it was something that I began practicing a while back, and I have just found this to be, and this has taken a lot of different shapes and patterns in my life, but an emotional check-in where you just basically, you check in with yourself regularly. For me, this has become a morning routine for me, where I just simply ask myself some questions. I ask things like how's the weather internally? How would I describe my emotional state right now in terms of the weather? Feels a little cloudy today. Feels like a winter day today. No, it's blue skies. I'm feeling good. Like, just asking, what am I feeling? It's funny, these are It would seem like silly little questions. But over the last little while, I've just been asking people, how do you check in? How do you know what you're feeling? I remember years ago doing an interview with Miranda, and Miranda had been to her therapist, completely burnt out. And her therapist told her, she said, Miranda, you are divorced from the neck down. You have not in any way allowed yourself to just check in and ask yourself, what's going on inside me? How am I feeling? What's been occupying your thoughts lately? How would I describe my mood and my attitude? When was the last time you just stopped and said, what is my mood right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is my level of contentment right now? Would you ask yourself these questions? In fact, better yet, I want to do something. When I started doing this, I felt this really awkward. It was like I'd never really asked myself these questions. I'm naturally a 2 on the Enneagram. I'm a helper. I'm very quick to ask, what do you need? How are you? What's going on over there? I rarely go inside me. So asking these questions was like so foreign. But then I stumbled across these exercises. And so I want to lead you through one this morning, just briefly, a 3-minute exercise. This becomes my morning ritual where I just check in. So I'm going to invite Marco to play a little music. I'm going to invite you right now, if you'll just get comfortable with me. If you're sitting, maybe you're at home right now, you're laying on the couch, would you just kind of sit forward, have both feet on the floor? Just assume a posture of being awake, being alert. Now you can open your hands or you can put them on your knees. Just straighten up. I'm going to invite you to take a big breathe in. Hold it and then just release it. Perhaps close your eyes if you like. Step 1, I want you to begin by seeing what's going on in your mind right now, in your body. What's going on? What is the weather pattern like? What thoughts are circling inside of you? What feelings are here? Are there any sensations that you're feeling in your body right now? Any pain? Don't try to change anything. Just try to be open. Oh, what already is happening right now. Step 2 now. Bring attention to your breath, narrowing the focus to the sensations of the breath in the abdomen. Down in your stomach, just let your stomach out. Suck in that air. Breathe out. Changing the attention on your breath to the full inhale and the full exhale of the breath for the full duration now. If your mind wanders, just gently bring it right back to just the breath. All right, last step. Just expand your focus on your breath beyond the abdomen to the whole body, as if the whole body were breathing now. Aware of your posture, your facial expression, the sensations on the surface of your skin, and from right inside the body as well. Holding all these sensations of the body just as they are right now. All right. We're coming home to the body. Let's come home to this moment right now. Something simple just like that, just checking in. Just breathe, just stop all the incessant thinking and just feel yourself. Feel what's happening inside. It's just a simple breathing exercise. But it's amazing how taking this moment to just reflect on what is going on inside me right now, what has been circling, what am I feeling? It's amazing how in these moments, when I've done it, in just such a simple exercise, I become aware of something that's poking, something that's causing concern, something I'm feeling that I wasn't aware of even a moment before. So it's important to feel. It's important to be knowing what is going on inside of you, to be aware of your emotional battery. But it goes beyond that. What is causing the drain? Where are you right now? And what might be leading to the sapping of your emotional energy? This was the next thing that we began exploring. If you want to get into emotional self-care, you got to get proactive. Figure out, okay, what is hooking up my battery and pulling on it? For some, if you just look out at your life right now, for some it's your job, it's the demands, the everyday grind. Some of you right now, you got perhaps young kids, and it's just life. It's just all of what it is right now that's just pulling on you. Maybe not something specific, it's just kind of your state. But for some, it's something specific. It might be career related. It might be a difficult family situation with your kids. If I look back, there were seasons where my boys went through individually certain things. And their world, as it began to collapse, it collapsed our world without us wanting it to. It was just like hooking up my battery onto 3 large spotlights. I could feel the drain just dropping. For some, it's a relationship that's in turmoil, or a health concern, a financial stress. Did you know that these life events, they are just pulling emotional energy out of you? I just wasn't aware. It's like, yeah, it's life. I just didn't connect the dots to this battery inside of me. For many, it's not so much something that's happening right now, but it's something that happened a long time ago. It's something unresolved, a hurt, something that's gone on way back that still occupies your thoughts, your dreams. Sometimes your weak moments, it takes you back. And you'll be in the middle of something and someone will say something and do something, and it's like it touches on a nerve that is still exposed from something way back. That's the weird thing about the emotional draw. You can have life, everything on the surface is going well right now, but because something never got dealt with way back, you're expelling huge emotional energy, and it's leaving you empty, and you're going, what the heck is wrong here? For me, it wasn't so much an event, and it wasn't so much something that happened way back in my past. It was the fact that I had endured a long season of time where the net deficit of my daily activities was just drawing a little bit more than I was putting into it every day. It's just, I was giving more than I was getting. And it was funny, it was tied to this season, late November, early December. Couldn't see it at the time. It wasn't until hindsight, I'm looking back, realizing that the things that I was doing that were replenishing my system had stopped back in about early September. And from September to about November, I just started moving into a deficit every day, little one. Just spending more than I was putting in. Just kept dropping till about late November, I was in deep, deep deficit. There can be all kinds of different things that are hooked up to your battery that are pulling on it. Would you know which is your largest draw? If I were to ask you right now, identify what is the top thing that's draining your emotional battery, what comes to your mind? If I was to ask you to make a list of 3 things, what kind of things would you point to that are constantly just pulling on you? So once you identify what those things are, then we start trying to figure out what to do about them. I was speaking with someone that last Sunday. She said, there's nothing I can do. Like, my life right now is kind of this. I have no options. The pandemic has created some problems for me. Yeah, I get that. There's kind of normal life, but then there is some things that are drawing on our system that might not be necessary. Perhaps there's someone that needs to be said no to. Sometimes in these seasons we address boundary issues. Is there a conversation that needs to be had? Is there a behavior pattern of yours that's problematic? Like, sometimes there's just these little things that start chipping away, and it's not until you get into deficit mode that really it becomes obvious. I started staying up late back in this window of my time, and I just never got my sleeping patterns back. I started eating unhealthy. I've heard people describe what was the lead in to some of their emotional depletion. Sometimes it's like funny things that seem so unrelated to the emotional battery. Sometimes they've spotted certain things that they personally are doing that are creating issues. Sometimes it's external. It's dealing with others. Is there one thing that you could do this week to stop that thing or a couple things from drawing on your battery? It's kind of like, for me, I had to get on one side and go, okay, there are things right now, looking back at my season, that I was allowing my life that were just pulling the battery out of me. That's one equation. And I had to figure out what I'm saying yes to certain things that I shouldn't be saying yes to. I'm doing certain things that aren't giving me a chance to catch up, yeah. And then there's this other side where I start really thinking deeply about what I'm going to do to replenish, recharge my system. This is more fun to talk about. It's like there are certain things that you can do that actually really recharge you. Let me just ask you, would you know what your top rechargers are? My problem season began late November, starting likely in September. That's the end of the golf season for me. Weird. I didn't connect the dots there. I've learned some things about myself. Being an extrovert, I recharge my system by being around people. I also recharge my system through playing competitive sports. So when I can marry those two, it's like there's the normal little trickle charger that you can put on your battery that takes if you've ever had a battery that's dead, you hook on that little trickle charger, you're still ain't going anywhere for 12 hours. That trickle charger takes time. That's frustrating. You're like, no, I got to go places. No, I'm sorry. You're going to wait for a while to let that thing trickle. But then there's those events that are like hooking up the rapid charger to your system. That, for me, is what a day out golfing with a few buddies, going head to head, having a little skin in the game. I can be out for like a 6-hour period, so 4.5 hours, and then a little bit of fun on the back end, having some drinks and chatting with them. I come home, I feel like I've had a 3-day vacation. And so that is part of my rewire, my recharge that goes throughout the summer. I'm telling you, by the end of August, my battery is looking so good. I'm just like, you want to see me at my best? Come and talk to me in September. I'm just like, whoa, I didn't realize this, but then September stops. Now, I have learned that I can't just have everything stop, then I got to keep going. So that's when I started wiring hockey, weekly hockey in, and then we go out for wings afterwards with the boys. This again became my spa day, as some other people use to recharge their systems. This thing had a way of just hooking up the battery cables. I would come home, I might need stitches, I'm barely, able to walk. Kathy's looking at me going, why do you do this? But my soul is smiling. I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling so good. Do you have those? Back in that time when I began to draw these lines, I began to realize, wow, I need certain things wired into my system, into my calendar, that I am hooking up those cables and charging. And oftentimes when I'm talking to people who are down under it, they're going, and I'm asking them, what are your things? What is the thing that charges you like none other? Now, for some, if you're more introverted, it might be just silence. It might be quiet time. It might be getting out. My wife loves going out to the mountains. Time out in the mountains is, for her, just being out. We can be out for a hike. I can just see it. We start out on the walk. By the time we're back, she is just almost a different person. Some people have described times with the girls, a mom and tots group. Some people have book clubs that they do. For some, it's like they send their family away and they just stay at home and clean. And they go, man, this is amazing. Okay, to each their own, okay? Some, it's organizing. When they can get everything reorganized, whoo, do you know what your charges are? Do you have your go-to list that you say, I need to get this done? For some, it's exercise. For some, it's just watching a movie. Some are more specific. They say, I have to watch a real scary movie. Or I need to watch a love story or whatever. What hobbies? Nothing has been more common in these conversations with people, because I'm telling you, there's people that are they're redlining it. Their check engine lights are on all over the place. We're talking to them nonstop. And one of the first things they'll tell me is, my recharge system got pitched out the window when the pandemic hit. The things that I normally would do, I can't do anymore. I can't get together with my friends. And, normally Friday nights we would do this, and normally I'd be in the gym. I'd be, And or maybe you would do like what I did. When all of a sudden things got shut down, we just go, well, I might as well just work. At least I can do something. And without even realize that, all of a sudden we shift our gears to something that just starts flipping the switch, and that battery just starts draining. So maybe now you got an opportunity. Here we are, the beginning of January. Maybe you can name some of the things that you normally would do to recharge your system. And maybe of that list, maybe of 5 things that that really work for you, maybe 2 of them can be done during pandemic times. I don't know. I'm here to tell you, we got to get creative. If you don't, you're going to get swamped. This has been my message to numerous people. You are taking on water. Stop with the excuses. Tell me what you can spin, what you normally would do, to doing what you now in these conditions. What can you do? Had a great conversation with a guy this morning. He's like, man, I normally would get out and play hockey. He says, the indoor arenas are all shut down, so I've just been going out for a skate on the rink, ODR, outdoor rink. I'm just trying. I'm trying to find things. Even going out skiing right now is a problem. You got to check in, you got to book, and it gets sold out. Ski hills getting sold out. Yes. We got to get on the creative side. Probably this morning, if this simple message was anything, it's simply find the things that are draining your battery. Do you know what they are? First of all, do you know how you are? Do you know where your battery level is? Do you know what things are hooked up to you that are sucking energy out of you, some of which may not be necessary? Do you have that list? Are you cognizant of it? Is there something you could be doing right now that would just pull that thing off your battery? Is there some drama? Is there a pattern? Is there a way of being right now that is just not healthy, that you could to save some emotional energy? Then on the other side is, what are you doing that can flip the switch, hook up the paddles, and get you back up? Now, some I've talked to are kind of the big paddle type. They would normally rely on a 1-week vacation in Mexico every January. And then they'll plan a Vegas trip in April. They'll go, okay, I'm good right now. I'm going to run her dry right until I get to Vegas. And pow, hook me up again. Yeah, you guys that do that, you're in trouble. We gotta look for creative stuff that's more trickle charger system kind of oriented, looking for the little things that are giving you more regular hits throughout the week. So what is your thing? I realize now that early on in my life, I looked at most of what I'm talking about right now as kind of a luxury. It's kind of like, oh yeah, there's things that I could be doing. It's nice, but when life gets busy, life gets busy. That was until I began those meltdown seasons. Now I realize that my emotional health, the things that I need to do to keep my battery, they're not luxuries. These are absolute necessities. It's a necessity for my career. It's a necessity for my family, for my marriage. And I'm betting it's the same for you too, whether you recognize it or not. So as I wrap up this morning, let me just review and give you a little homework. If you check in regularly, chances are your body will tell you when something's up. If you don't have a regular check-in, try it. I don't care what your system is. I turn on Insight Timer. I lead myself to some particular music. I have certain meditation guides that I love. I get 10-minute, pop that music on, and they guide me through a meditation. I don't know what your check-in process will be, but maybe you want to find one. Secondly, identify quickly where your largest draws are. And identify one that you can act on. Even today, is there one thing that maybe it's a conversation you need to have, maybe it's a change you need to make just in your own lifestyle? I don't know what it might be. And lastly, figure out what activities are going to recharge your emotional battery. And commit to them. Commit to one. What's one thing you could do today? Put a little fuel in your tank. Maybe you need to have a conversation with those who are in your life who maybe don't understand how depleted you get. And you need to tell them what you need or what step you can take. Maybe there's someone in your life who you're looking at and you're going, they are bone dry. And I'm not even sure they know it. You know, this could stir up all kinds of different conversations, but man, I'm telling you, how beautiful if we could simply make a change right now that would all of a sudden start bringing a 20% fuel tank up to about 30 or 40. Get some people out of the red zone. Get them into the healthy levels. We've often said the difference between someone who's running at 20% and 80%, there is no comparison. Be curious, man, it'd be so great if we could just look around and you could see a little hologram above us hovering with our battery levels. You know, it'd be so helpful, wouldn't it? Especially those people that we're working with are going, whoa, 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 you're in trouble. Let's leave that alone. Let's help you over here. That's up to you now. Like, this is big boy and girl stuff. So may this week, may you take a close look at your batteries. May you identify some stuff that could turn things around. May you make a commitment to regularly infusing some energy into it. May you get creative. If you've decided that the pandemic has just made things impossible, I hope your thinking might change. When you walk out today, you're looking creatively for some way to get that need, that thing done inside of you. It's my prayer for you. Kind of a simple message. It's life-saving, though. It was for me. And I hope that it will be for you, too. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Check in regularly this week. And let's come back next week with batteries that are just a little bit further ahead on the dial, can we? Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week.